Okay, it's 7:30, and I would like to call the City of Twinsburg regular council meeting to order. Shannon, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Scafidi?
Here.
Mr. Ceresi?
Here.
Ms. McFerrin?
Here.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Here.
Mr. Roden?
Here.
Mr. Fury?
Here.
Mr. Steele?
Here. Okay, next we will have the invocation and pledge allegiance. If everybody would please rise. Father, we seek your guidance for the business that is before us. In planning for the future of the City of Twinsburg, give us vision. Guide us to make decisions that are not self-serving, but for the betterment of our community, so we can continue to move forward in a positive direction. Amen. Now we will be led by the Troop 223 will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Troop.
Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Troop 223. Say that fast. I know. It's a tongue twister. Okay, next we have the approval of the minutes from the March 22nd meeting. Anybody have any changes or corrections or discussion on those minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will stand as written. Audience participation. Shannon.
Karen Clinton?
Okay.
Again, good evening, Council, Mayor. First of all, I want to say that I just think it's, I want to take the opportunity to say thanks to all of our fine men in uniform who showed up for a swearing in tonight. This just, you know, I'm just so proud of our community. It just reiterates what I said earlier. Please, you know, keep in mind that the safety services of our community are first and foremost. And again, as you know, swear in the new firefighter and see the support and the commitment and just what they do every day for us is just amazing. And I think sometimes we forget or we lose sight of that. We get caught up in the everyday business of running the community, and we forget that when you go in the bathroom and see that, you know, your son cut his finger and you don't know what to do, you just dial 911 and they're there, you know, or, you know, grandma fell and can't get up, you know, or even worse, and I don't even want to think about the worst. So please, it's important that you support them, and again, our department heads are wonderful. Keep that in mind when making decisions. And that's all I have to say. I'm just overwhelmed right now. I have some other things I want to address, but I'll do that at a later time. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Clinton. Shannon, anybody else?
There is none.
There is none. Okay. Then we will move on to awards and presentations. We have the Eagle Scout Award. Mayor, you take the presentation.
Yeah, tonight we have some proclamations, Eagle Scout Awards for Ethan Dale, Sean Davenport, and Brian Stoffer. I'll call them up individually, and then we're also going to do a swearing in of our new full-time firefighter, Josh Jarzab. Ethan Dale. I'm going to read this proclamation. Whereas the administration, council, and residents of the city of Twinsburg, Ohio, extend congratulations to Ethan Ryan Dale for his achievement in earning the rank of Eagle Scout. And whereas Ethan Dale began Scouts as a Cub Scout in 2004 with Cub Scout Pack 677, sponsored by St. Cosmas and Damian Church in Twinsburg, Ohio. He earned the Arrow of Light Award in 2009 and then crossed over to Boy Scouts in Troop 223, sponsored by the First Congregational Church of Twinsburg, Ohio, originally under Scoutmaster Jeff Gaither and continuing under Scoutmaster Peter Dale. And whereas Ethan has held the positions of Assistant Patrol Leader, Patrol Quartermaster, Patrol Leader, Scribe, Assistant Senior Patrol Leader, Chaplain Aide, Burglar and Librarian, he has attended National Youth Leadership Training, National Scouting Jamboree, Mount Washington Backpacking Trek, OPIC Winter Adventure, Laurel Highland Hiking Trail Trek, and over 50 camping activities. He has earned the Polar Bear Award, the 50-Miler Award, and the National Outdoor Achievement Award for camping. Ethan has earned 45 merit badges, 21 of which are needed for the rank of Eagle Scout. And whereas for his Eagle Service Project, Ethan researched, funded, and created a pollination garden on the Center Valley Trail in Twinsburg, Ohio. With the help of family, friends, and fellow scouts, he coordinated and supervised the construction and installation of the fence surrounding the garden, which will prevent deer and other wild animals from eating the flowers that pollinators need. And whereas Ethan is a senior at Twinsburg High School and participates in the Twinsburg High School marching and jazz bands, he has participated in cross country for 5 years. And whereas Ethan is a member of the St. Timothy's Episcopal Church of Macedonia and has served as an Okalite since 2010. Now, therefore, I, Ted Yates, Mayor of the City of Twinsburg, express my congratulations to Ethan Ryandale on achieving this prestigious and honorable rank of Eagle Scout. I further congratulate his parents, Peter and Edie Dale, brother Simon and sister April, along with family and friends and fellow scouts as they gather to commemorate this special occasion. Congratulations. I'm going to get tired from reading this. All right, next is going to be Sean Davenport. Okay, Sean's proclamation. Whereas the administration, council, and residents of the city of Twinsburg, Ohio, extend congratulations to Sean James Davenport for his achievements in earning the rank of Eagle Scout. And whereas Sean Davenport began Scouts as a Cub Scout in 2004 with Cub Scout Pack 67, sponsored by Faith United Methodist Church in Twinsburg, Ohio, he earned the Arrow of Light Award in 2009 and crossed over to Boy Scouts in Troop 223, sponsored by the First Congregational Church of Twinsburg, Ohio, originally under Scoutmaster Jeff Gaither and continuing with Scoutmaster Peter Dale. And whereas Sean has held the positions of Patrol Leader, Assistant Senior Patrol Leader, and Troop Guide, and has participated in the weekend campouts, Boy Scout Summer Camp at Manitowoc, Boy Scout High Adventure at Sea Base, and Kelly Islands campouts. Sean has earned 22 merit badges, including a 50-mile bicycle ride for his cycling merit badge. And whereas for his Eagle Scout project, Sean benefited the Twinsburg Historical Society, he planned, designed, and oversaw the construction of a 7-foot signboard facing Darrow Road. The new signboard allows Twinsburg Historical Society to prominently display notices of their activities to the public. He also landscaped the surrounding area. Sean organized a car wash, and with the help of friends, family, and fellow scouts, he raised enough money to fund the project. And whereas Sean is a senior at Twinsburg High School, he has participated in marching, concert, symphony, and jazz bands, and in cross country. He is a member of the National Honor Society. This year will be his 3rd year as Camp Fitch counselor for 6th graders at Dodge Middle School. And whereas Sean is one of 3 high school students from across the country selected to plan, organize, and lead the Messinetta Springs Presbyterian Middle School Conference. He has been a volunteer at the Messinetta Conference for 3 years. Sean is also a black belt in karate. Now, therefore, I, Ted Yates, Mayor of the City of Twinsburg, express my congratulations to Sean James Davenport on achieving this prestigious and honorable rank of Eagle Scout. I further congratulate his parents, Robertson and Deborah Davenport, and his brother Craig, along with his family, friends, and fellow scouts as they gather to commemorate this special occasion. And last, we have Brian Stauffer. All right. Whereas the administration, council, and residents of the city of Twinsburg, Ohio, extend congratulations to Brian Daniel Stauffer for his achievement in earning the rank of Eagle Scout. And whereas Brian Stauffer began Scouts as a Cub Scout in 2004 with Cub Scout Pack 67, sponsored by Faith United Methodist Church in Twinsburg, Ohio. He earned their Arrow of Light Award in 2009 and crossed over to Boy Scouts in Troop 223, sponsored by the First Congregational Church of Twinsburg, Ohio, originally under Scoutmaster Jeff Gaither and continuing with Scoutmaster Peter Dale. And whereas Brian has held the position of Patrol Leader, Assistant Senior Patrol Leader, Chaplain Aide, and Troop Guide, and has participated in Boy Scout Summer Camp, Klondike and Kelly Islands Campout, Bryant has earned 22 merit badges, including a 50-mile bicycle ride for his cycling merit badge. And whereas for his Eagle Scout project, Bryant benefited the existing Meadow Trail in Twinsburg. The project included many months of planning, fundraising, and organizing scouts and adults to make improvements to the trail. The steps of an observation deck were rebuilt to ensure the safety of visitors. 3 benches were built for the trail, and trail marker signs were designed and made to replace existing signs. Brian organized a car wash, and with the help of friends, family, and fellow scouts, he raised money to fund the project. And Brian is a senior at Twinsburg High School and plans to pursue a 4-year degree in engineering or computer technology. And whereas Brian is a member of the RBC Singers Show Choir for Group 7th and 8th grade and has been a 4-year member of the Great Expectations Show Choir. Now, therefore, I, Ted Yates, Mayor of the City of Twinsburg, express my congratulations to Brian Daniel Stauffer on achieving this prestigious and honorable rank of Eagle Scout. I further congratulate his parents, Dan and Valley Stauffer, brother David and sister Julia, along with family, friends, and fellow scouts as they gather to commemorate this special occasion. You know, thank you so much. You guys do a lot for this community. You know, this is a strong Eagle Scout program that we have here and a Boy Scout program, and I know the community appreciates all the work you do and the projects that you do. I mean, we're fortunate every year to have a select number of kids come up here and earn this prestigious award, so thank you so much. So, now moving on, we have the honor of swearing in a new full-time firefighter here, Joshua Jarzab. If you'd come on up. And Joshua's here with his wife, Megan, his father, Randy. We've got his mother, Kathy, his brother, Jared, and his in-laws, Bob and Donna. If you'd raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Joshua Jarzab, do hereby solemnly swear
I, Joshua Jarzab, do hereby solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the State of Ohio,
of the State of Ohio,
the Charter, ordinances, and resolutions
the Charter, ordinances, and resolutions
of the City of Twinsburg,
of the City of Twinsburg,
Ohio,
Ohio,
and will faithfully,
and will faithfully,
honestly, and impartially
honestly, and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
as a full-time firefighter
as a full-time firefighter
and paramedic
and paramedic
of the Twinsburg Fire Department
of the Twinsburg Fire Department
to the best of my ability, as I say and swear to God.
to the best of my ability, so swear to God.
Congratulations.
We're pleased to be able to do this evening. Josh has been with us as a part-time firefighter medic since August of 13. We lost him to Cuyahoga Falls full-time for about a year, but we got him back, and we've got him full-time with us now. He's grown up in the area. He has graduated from Trinity High School, has associate's degrees in fire science and emergency management from the University of Akron. And we're just pleased to add him as a full-time member of the department tonight. As is customary after these, we're going to allow those who want to dismiss to have some cake and punch. Now, I've got a couple lessons here for our scouts in attendance. We were not prepared to have this many people. That being said, we'll let you exercise your survival skills and eat small pieces. But you're welcome to share with us. Thank you.
We're going to recess. Nobody told me.
Take a break.
Okay, at this time, we will take a short recess in order to join in the festivities of our new firefighter, and we'll be back in about 10 minutes.
Sam, maybe they want to take pictures with their kids up here with the mayor.
Council communication and committee reports. I'll start off tonight. My committees have not met. However, we will be, the Finance Committee will be meeting before the next council meeting on April 26th here at City Hall at 6 o'clock. And the next meeting of the CIC will be the 19th, which is next Tuesday, I believe, at 5:30 in the building in the square where we typically meet. So those are the two meetings that are scheduled. And other than that, we'll go on to Mr. Steele.
The ARB, the Architectural Review Board, met on April the 7th. At that time, they approved 3 homes on Corbett Lane, 1 home in Fox Hollow, 3 signs, a home remodel, and 1 detached garage. And that's it. And then we're meeting on the 3rd Thursday again.
You want to report on safety?
We did have a safety meeting earlier. Some of you were here, some were not. Some people have left. We did talk about the sidewalks here in the city and what we can do. I've asked Amy if she can, Amy Moore, the engineer, if we could get the map of the city that we were talking about where sidewalks should go. That would be great for the next safety committee meeting. We also discussed getting a city policy on take-home vehicles for the whole entire city. So, and that's what we talked about.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. McFerrin.
The Parks and Recreation Committee met on April 5th. There's a lot of really busy months ahead. Hopefully you've seen the new signs. There's Share the Road signs that are strategically placed around the city. National Bike Week is May 16th through the 20th. National Ride Your Bike to Work Day is May 20th. The Cicadias are coming back this May. Last time they were here is 1999. It's important to note that they do not bite, they do not sting, they do not damage large trees, and they may damage smaller trees. But the big concern right now is getting the pool opened, and the Parks and Recreation Committee all supports getting the new fence around the pool, and it's a very timely manner, or a timely item. So they've looked at reducing from an 8-foot to a 7-foot aluminum oriental fence that would go around the pool. They've done some changes of the landscaping that would keep the fence from being damaged by mowers, but the reason they're looking at this is the old fence is old. It's the original fence. It's chain link, which kids, or I guess we don't have to limit to kids, but people have cut or scale it to get into the pool. It would be awesome to be able to protect also useful to protect the new patio furniture that's been purchased. So there's safety, there's aesthetics of getting this done, and they're looking at cost of about $65,000. So they're looking for support from us in regards to that purchase. Any comments?
Well, I know we've talked about this. I mean, I guess before we go out to bid, I mean, this is something that have to be public bid. I just need to have a gauge of, you know, what council wants to do with this. I mean, I've shared my opinion. I think it makes sense to invest in the nicer fence that's providing a safer, you know, a safer protection for that pool in that area. But I guess we just need to know where council stands on it. So I'd like some discussion before we spend any effort going out to bid on a fence that we may not end up authorizing.
Did he not go out to bid already?
No, it has not.
No.
So this is just estimates that he received?
These are just estimates, right?
Well, I think an email came out to all of us, and I think I responded that I don't have a problem going out to bid. I'd like to see what the prices are. That doesn't mean that we're definitely going to go with it, but I would like to see what we're looking at in cost, because I know there's maybe some question here on council as to whether we should or shouldn't do it or spend the money or not. But we got estimates, but we really don't know what we're talking about. And now I hear about a scaled down version that I didn't hear about this until tonight. So I wouldn't mind going out to bid and seeing what the prices come in at. We may be surprised.
I will say, I mean, I'm a big proponent of the pool. We use it, but also my kids swim there in the summer. I mean, and yes, we could go with a cheaper fence. Yeah, I mean, I get that. But I also think Brandon's done a great job with the pool program. and they've really stepped it up, and I don't see why I mean, I'm not saying we'd go with that fence, but I think we should look into it, get some bids, and think about it, because I think we've done a nice job of improving a huge amount of what it was really just, 2 or 3 years ago. So that's my opinion.
I mean, just the enhancements alone, I mean, we're looking to enhance the golf course now, and so they want to enhance the pool a little bit after all these years. We really haven't, that's the original fence. I did take the opportunity to go up there myself and see where the fence had been compromised and how it's been repaired. And in any event, no matter what we do, we need a new fence there, okay, whether we go back to chain link or not. But I see no harm in going out to bid and seeing where we land, and maybe doing the fence that he's proposing as an option, and chain link as well. So we'll get 2 options. This way we're not wasting our time. Hopefully we'll go with one or the other. But it needs to be replaced.
Didn't we approve this in capital already?
Capital Improvement, I believe, approved it. I don't know that the Finance Committee did when it came. Gary, you were in charge of Finance at the time. I don't remember if Finance approved their recommendation on that.
I thought that we directed him to repair it and put the bars along the bottom that they say it needed, that it was built without.
I think that was last
was
year, though.
last
I
year.
remember us
Last year.
doing that last year.
Last year
And he
and this
did
year.
make the repairs. I remember that. I
Yeah, he
don't,
didn't put the bars in, though.
okay. I don't remember about this year, though. So, that's my thought.
Our beginning balance on our total funds is $27.4 this year. We're looking at an ending balance of $18.4, which is $9 million less. We're looking at the same $9 million drop next year. You can put a chain link fence between 11 and 20K to replace the entire fence. Last year we spent $80,000 on capital improvements, so we broke even except for the $80,000 we invested in the facility. Previous year before that, we were tired of the mushroom, so we put a $15,000 pine tree or tropical tree in. We've redone the locker rooms there. We've redone the roof. We put $10,000 in video cameras to make sure that the place is safe. If you stand there, you can't see a non-chain link fence around a public facility for as far as you can see. You can see the service department. You can see all the high school. You can see the fields on the other side. I think that the chain link fence would be fine, and that again, if we're not going to save $45,000 on a chain link fence on a pool that's open for 90 days a year, I don't know where we're going to come up with the money to try to stop $9 million a year in losses.
Well, we're enhancing the golf course. We're talking about putting in a new clubhouse there. I mean, we're making enhancements to things that we have. That fence, as far as I know, is the original fence. It's been there as long as the pool's been open. So, in the replacing the mushroom, again, original piece of equipment that was there that we replaced. Upgrading the locker rooms that need to be done. We have residents going there. They pay to go there. We have guests that go there, so we need to have a decent facility. Just like we've talked about with that golf course, we're looking to enhance the golf course. It's our property. We own it. We're looking to upgrade the golf course to get more players, to get more golf outings. These are things that we need to do, and unfortunately, it needs to go throughout the departments. So, saving the $70,000 there, but spending the millions over there at the golf course, I don't see how this goes it doesn't go like this to me. It goes like this, all right? If we can, then we need to really look. We don't want to have safety department take cars home because it's costing us money. Everything costs us money here. But then I think we put the brakes on that golf course. That's where I'm going.
Well,
That's what needs to happen. That's fine, because the golf course
that's
clubhouse
fine.
that's there has been a temporary building for 25 years.
Okay.
If you look at the money we've invested in the pool and the rec center, we could have built that golf course 5 times.
Well, let's look at what we did on the golf course itself all last year, the last 2 years. We've gone through 3 phases of upgrades to the course itself. If that current clubhouse needs to be repaired, well, then I say let's get prices on that and let's just repair it. I understand the bathroom doesn't work and whatever, so let's go ahead and make those repairs and let's cut the spending then. If that's what we're looking at, then that's what we need to look at.
I'm in support of putting money into the pool because that's what serves the residents over the golf course. And those are not necessarily people in the community that are benefiting from that. Not everyone. From the update of those. For this, the pool those are our residents. The residents use the pool, so why would we not support.
Sam, I don't think anybody's opposed to putting a new fence and getting it done. So I agree with you. Let's go out for bid, see what comes back.
That's all
Right.
I'm asking at this
I
point.
agree.
I would just
I
like to
agree.
go out for bid
I
and
agree.
see where we're at. We're talking about something that we don't even know for sure.
Right.
Same thing in the safety meeting, we were talking about, all of a sudden it came up that, well, it's an expense to have department heads or some of the safety forces take their vehicles home. We don't even know the kind of money we're talking about. I have not heard a dollar figure from anybody that it costs so much to have the chiefs or their assistant chiefs or anybody in those departments, anybody in our safety forces take home a vehicle. But we're talking about, well, we don't need them. They don't need them anymore. We need to cut that back. We need a policy. Well, okay, but why? That was my question, why? And my question here, we're talking about a fence that we don't even have a concrete bid on. I'd like to see it in writing. So let's go out to bid and let's just see what we're talking about. Maybe we are talking about something that we need to cut back, but I don't know that. So that's my thought.
Is that enough info?
We'll-
Can you
yeah,
go
we'll-
for bid?
We'll
Go
go out to bid, and we'll work through with whatever happens.
Okay, well, that brings me to the golf advisory meeting
Sorry.
that we had last night. And new members were sworn in. Deb Jones was elected the chairperson. Frank Lisinski was vice chair, and Fran Mooney as secretary. We had a resident, Chuck Bonacci, came and spoke about how perfect the golf course would be to have bocce courts. Brian Kleinert presented the financial report and stated how far ahead we are because of the weather in March. It was like 829 rounds of golf and huge revenue because of the weather. Jim Roberts presented an update on the course and course improvements. There was discussion on making the greens faster. I'm not sure about that, but that's what everybody else wanted. And there was Brian Steele brought up about the geese on the course. Mayor Yates presented the clubhouse rendering, and the committee discussed the benefits of the clubhouse and how that goes beyond just the golfers, because it would have a restaurant, there could be areas to have private family dinners, graduation party, business meetings, and again, just a place to go and have dinner locally with a great view. So, and then of course the revenue from different outings. The next meeting is scheduled for July 21st. And my chamber board meeting is tomorrow at 8 a.m. at the library. The big upcoming event is a 3-chamber luncheon with Matt Fisher from Melt Bar and Grill, and that's April 21st. And then there's a meeting on May 25th, a luncheon with the State of City update and scholarship luncheon at the Hilton Heights. That's all I have.
I do want to mention one other thing under Ms. McFerrin's report. I was talking about enhancements to the certain departments or buildings. I've been asking about our service garage and our service department for 2 years, I think now. I've sat up here and asked, where's the proposal for the new service garage? Those guys have been working out of an inadequate facility for how many years, and I think that we need to also take a look at that. So, there's money that needs to be spent here. There's things that we need to do to make our departments and our services professional and work well for our residents that are paying for those services. So, there's a whole lot of money that needs to be spent. We need to spread it around a little bit, but these are all enhancements that need to happen here in the city, and we need to continue to look for ways to do that instead of just ways of cutting everything. We passed a 0.25% tax a few years back, and the big thing at the time was safety, okay? And once we rescinded that 0.25% tax, guess what? We wound up having a lot of money in our coffers from that 0.25%. Now we're talking about safety. We don't have any money to give them to take their vehicles home. I don't get where this is going. I don't understand this, and I think we really need to take a look at everything, all of the services, all of the buildings, not just, you zero in on one thing and take 70,000 away from this guy and, take vehicles away from those guys. We really need to do some soul searching here and really sit down and have some serious conversations. Okay, Mr. Fury, your report.
But I want to rebuttal.
Well, go ahead. It's your time. take up your
The
report.
Tax Incentive Review Committee met on March 24th to review both the CRA agreements. The CRA agreement for the city is when a business either builds a new facility or adds on to an existing facility and makes a commitment to employees and new payroll that will benefit the city long term. And in return, we give them a percentage of a property tax incentive on that new construction. There are multiple agreements that were reviewed: FFR, Selco, University Hospitals, CHIA, Granzorn, Richner Associates, Vistar, and Young Explorers. The board's made up of residents, the mayor, the finance director. I sit on it as a member of council. Schools are involved. The county fiscal office is involved. And Mr. Finch, as the CIC director, oversees the meeting. All these were approved to be extended for 1 year. We have Resolution 32, 2016 that we'll be voting on this evening. Then we review the top agreements. Top agreements are Twinsburg occupancy programs. That's where we bring businesses into Twinsburg or entice them to stay in Twinsburg in occupying an existing facility. We have 15 different top agreements, and this is, since there already is a structure there, we negotiate a reduction in the income tax that the business would pay for, again, new employment and new payroll, a certain percentage that is discounted over a period of years. Again, we have 15 different agreements. Those were all reviewed, again, by the same board, and asked to be extended for 1 year. Those will be on Resolution 33, 2016 tonight. This is a board that meets once a year as we do these reviews. The Planning Commission will meet on Monday, April 18th, next Monday at 7 o'clock. There'll be 2 items on their agenda. One will be a preliminary subdivision platform for Shepherd Preserve, which is a 2-phase, 18-acre development, which will have 23 sublots. The other is a lot split for 11100 Ravenna Road. It will be a 5-acre split into 2. The property's in an R4 district, and I have planners' reports on both of them. So those will be addressed next Monday at 7 o'clock. Ethan's Green Community Garage Sale, which is a big deal over in that area of town. I don't know what Meadowwood's doing theirs the same weekend, but June 17th and 18th are the dates. If you live in Ethan's Green and want to participate, there's information on their website, ethansgreen.com, that you can get, because you need to register so that your property is included on the map that is passed out, and the maps are passed out in the golf course parking lot on that Friday and Saturday. But there are hundreds of houses that participate. We get lots of people coming into town to run around and support this. I think we're in our 20th year. So again, the dates are June 17th and 18th. And if you want to sell things, you need to get a hold of the property managers through the website so that you're included on the map. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fury. Mr. Roden.
Thank you. Good evening. We just talked about Safety Committee, and then a big one that's coming up this coming Thursday. We have Environmental Commission meeting. It'll be 7 o'clock here in Council Chambers. And then the big event that we're going to be working on is the Earth Day celebration. That's April 21st, a week from Thursday, from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Fitness Center. There will be a short presentation by Mayor Yates regarding Earth Day. There's going to be a $250 scholarship that will be awarded to a high school senior. Chief Noga will present the proper disposal of prescription drugs and the drop-off locations. You can bring in canned goods or paper products to be entered to win a 30-day fitness center pass. We're going to be featuring 6 electric and hybrid cars, Tesla, Chevy Volt, Toyota Prius, RAV4, and the BMW i3. Organic lawn care samples will be there, origami crafts for kids, free samples and pollinator plant, or free seeds, I'm sorry, and pollinator plants, native bird exhibits. There'll be some free snacks for the kids, face painting, and then students can come up and get community hours by volunteering. And then also, which made me laugh, Daisy, Big Bird will teach the chicken dance, and a prize will be awarded for the best dancer. So
Mr. Roden will be leading that dance. Mr. Roden will be leading that for us as the representative.
That's going to be the highlight for me.
Commission.
But really, I want to just say kudos to the Environmental Commission. You've done an awesome job. From what it was last year and even the year before to what we're doing this year, it's really grown. I love the cars coming, and I think it's going to be a great event. So anyone interested, please come out on Thursday, April 21st from 4 to 7. And I know there's a lot of activity during that time with activities at the gym, so we should hopefully get a good amount of people. So look forward to seeing everyone there. And that is my report.
Okay, thank you.
So excited about the changes.
Mr. Ceresi.
I have no report. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Stoffer.
I have no report. My committees have not met.
Wow, okay. Then, Mayor, it's all yours.
All mine?
Your
All
report.
Right. Good evening, everyone. And also for Earth Day, just to remind, it will be in a court this year. Our vendors and what will be on display just outgrew the lobby area at the fitness center, so we have moved it to a court. So hopefully it's going to be a really big event. It seems like there's a lot of planning, everything going on, so it should be a great time. Over the last few weeks, we've been off 3 weeks now, I did attend a meeting with residents from Rolling Hills. It's a big project that's going on in that community. We did hand out phone numbers and contacts, and any of the residents that are impacted by that, just please, if there's issues with the construction and things that are going on, just please reach out to my office or to our engineer's office, and we'll make sure we can try to get someone to address any issues that you have. Over the break here, we had our Easter events at the fitness center. We had our candy scramble and our wet Easter egg hunt. And I just want to share, I mean, our Parks and Rec does a great job, and our community really supports these events. I mean, it was packed, tons of little kids running around. It's amazing the amount of candy we buy and spread out on a court, and the way that it's I guess absorbed in about 40 seconds between all these little kids. But it is a great event. It's fun. The community loves it. The wet egg hunt is something that is unusual to Twinsburg. Other communities don't do it, but I mean, they dump money in the bottom of a pool, and it's fun watching the kids just go crazy at the pool. So it was a great event, both of them, and I just commend Parks and Rec for continuing the programs they do here in the community. I did attend a chamber, multi-chamber luncheon where we had a presentation on the impact of the RNC. It's just, as we get closer to that event, I believe it's going to spread out to all the communities. We're seeing restaurants here that are wanting to potentially open up, extended hours. We've got hotels. We've got people renting houses. There's websites that if you want to rent your house for the RNC, you can do it. I know Mr. Roden's going to be waist deep in RNC here come the summer. But anyway, you could probably find through the chamber. You could probably find the video of that presentation. But it's going to be a great thing for, I think, Northeast Ohio having that event come here. I also, I've had some discussions with police and fire. We do a big safety force open house in October, and we'll continue to do that. But there was some, desire from some of the police force that we participate in what's called as National Night Out. It's something new. It's a national program where on the first Tuesday of August, throughout all the different communities, the police force organizes an event, invites the community, and it's just really a nice interactive time for the police force and the residents. And so what we're looking at doing is having an event on that Tuesday and maybe pull police maybe away from our open house and have their own separate event, have that one in October kind of focused on fire, because I think that's a fire safety prevention week. So we have two separate events, and as part of that, the safety forces, I met with both fire and police, have helped with a little encouragement from me, come up with a safety force challenge. So we've come up with a course that kind of combines both the physical agility of both fire and police. And that day and that event, part of that whole event will be our police and fire competing against each other in a course that we'll fine-tune before that time. But August 2nd, I believe, is the date, so just kind of keep that in your background. And we're going to plan hopefully different things that will go on that night. And I know Solon does a really good job with theirs in other communities, so hopefully something that we can put in place and have on an annual basis. But and then lastly, I just want to say that I was visited unannounced by former Mayor Mr. Karabeck this weekend. I just want to know that who kept up with him. He's doing very well. He was as spry as can be, and kind of filled my ear with some complaints that he had around town. But it was good to see him. Good to see him in rare form, and I'm glad that he's doing well. I know he's back in Florida now, but I just wanted to share that because he hasn't been able to come to Ohio in a while, and it was good to see him here. So that's all I have.
Okay, great.
So
Department heads.
Department head reports. Jim, you want to start? And Karen will not be here tonight, so she's in Canfield, I believe.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. The golf course has been open since March 8th, which is about 3 weeks earlier than last year, and came out of winter very good. Winter maintenance is complete, and over the last several weeks we have been preparing the golf course for play. Some of these items include maintaining greens, tees, and fairways, and we were able to mow everything before the bad weather hit. Other items include picking up debris from some of the high windstorms we had the last few days, bunker maintenance, cleaning off catch basins, and drainage repairs and tree work. Also, with the help from the service department, a lot of poor condition trees were removed from hole 17 and chipped. This area is very extensive, and we'll be working on it throughout the year. The bulk materials that were stored at the clubhouse parking lot have been relocated into our new storage bay area near the maintenance building. By having the materials close to our building, it will make operations a lot more efficient and provide a nicer appearance at the clubhouse. Also, additional trees are going to be planted in that location too. Some of the seasonal staff has started and are being trained. We should be fully staffed in the next couple of weeks when school lets out. A brief update on the renovations that took place on the course last fall. The contractor will be back to address any punch list items that need completed. The areas that were seeded late, such as some of the backside tees, will be established more before they can open. Unfortunately, the cold weather and snow set them back, and we need good, consistent, warmer weather to get those more established. Let's see. I'm hoping in the next few weeks the majority of them will be open for play. Lastly, there is legislation for the purchase of a fairway mower that will replace a 1999 model in our current fleet. That was discussed earlier at the caucus this evening. This was also approved by the Capital Improvements Board and the Finance Committee. And that concludes my report. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Jim, I have a question. That storage, is that complete, other than a few trees putting around? Are you putting any kind of doors, or is there going to be any kind of fencing covering that?
There is not. Just a few trees, a few more trees around that area, but we also do have to be cautious of sight lines so we can get out of the driveway and have it visible to Glenwood. We can't put any doors or anything on those bins. We have to have it accessible for trucks to go in and then be able to empty their beds and store and dump the material into those bays.
Yeah, there's a number of spruces and bigger pines that we're going to look to plan around that, because there's been some issues with some residents, and that was one of Mr. Karabeck's complaints too.
I have to agree with him.
When we built that. So the goal is to load up that that embankment area that's around it to hopefully screen that with some natural, as much as we can, natural barriers. So.
Yeah, it looks a lot worse than I thought it was going to.
Okay.
I think.
So hopefully when it's all done, it won't be as visible as what it is now.
I know. Hopefully we can do something about that.
Any other questions? Good.
I don't think so.
Thank you.
So, yeah, and just to share too that the golf course had a fantastic March. on a percentage basis, they were up about 300%, but April is not starting off so great, so it'll balance out. But they did have a really good start in March. So, all right. Next, we'll have Chris.
Good evening, Council. Well, I think we're done with winter. We're acting like we are. So we've got a good start to the spring. We finished up with we think we're finished up actually this year with potholes, something we couldn't really say last year. We actually did a little under 2,000 potholes this season, and the guys actually were looking for potholes. They're having a hard time finding them, which is great. Last year we did just under 9,000 potholes, so that is great news for us. Snow and ice season, I'll say it's over. We had a total of 18 events this year. We have had as many as 40 events in the past. We have spread as much as 12 to 14,000 tons of salt. This year we were just over 4,000 tons. The good news there is we have enough room in the bin to accept the last little bit of salt that we have to purchase under our agreement with Cargill. So that's good. So we came out of that real well. Other things we started the spring with, branch chipping. We completed the first round. That's usually a light round. We completed that in 3 days, and we had 300 stops and just under 100 cubic feet of material collected. So our next round will be the first Monday in May, which is I think May 2nd. We'll be back out there, and we'll be probably running that program through November this year. We're going to add 1 month. So. Also on the list was litter. We completed our first round of litter removal. We picked up 31 55-gallon bags of litter, so they did a good job there. Storm area checks and cleaning. We did that. Just 4 bags of debris there. Those areas seem to be settling down from what they were 5-6 years ago. They seem to be holding their own as far as debris in there, and haven't had any real problems there. We've opened up the restrooms at the Glen Meadow and Glen Chamberlain parks, so those are ready to go. We're just getting into athletic field preparation. Those seasons are coming up really soon, but it's been so wet that we haven't been able to get out on there. But we're getting baseball field clay brought in. We're preparing the soccer fields, so that's going pretty well as well. Some of the upcoming things, street sweeper. As you remember, we bought a brand new street sweeper. Within the next week, the company's going to come out, the rep, and train our operators on the operation of that street sweeper, and we're going to immediately put it into use. We usually try to wait on that until we've had some significant rain to get rid of all that salt on the roads, because it plays havoc with the internal parts of that machine. So we will be getting training on that in about a week, and then that will be on the road. We've talked a lot about the sidewalk program, the grout pumping system that we'll use to level sidewalks. That is coming in, and we are receiving training on that. We're going to be up on Overlook. We're going to actually go to couple sites, and we're going to level some sidewalks with help of the company that we bought that from, and then we'll be ready to roll on that program. So we're going to gather a lot of data to see how quickly it goes, see what the labor demands are on that, and we'll be able to report back so we can kind of determine where that program is going to go for us each year. Along those same lines, we've received our Plug Hug, which is the system that will clean our hydrants. That will remove almost 100% of the paint from those hydrants, and we're going to spray paint those. So it should speed the program up a lot. It cleans the hydrant in about 4 minutes, and then we can spray it in about 5 minutes. So our big issue there will be having the labor to put to that. So we're going to try to minimize how many people we use in that program, and move through the city as quickly as we can. But again, that's going to be one of those areas where we're going to see how quickly it goes and you know how fast, how many units we can do a year. So we'll be testing that stuff out this year. From the wastewater side, sewer cleaning is wrapping up in Glenwood Preserve area. That area should all be cleaned, and they're going to move over to Heritage Estates and start over there. They just continually work their way through the city, and then they follow up with video inspection on areas that may have posed a problem with their cleaning. And the last thing I have is the microturbine. We recently changed out the compressor on that unit. Normal operation, those compressors give us about 2 or 3 years of life, and then they have to be replaced. That unit was replaced and the microturbine put back into service, and it's running beautiful. So we're saving a bunch of money with that. So that's been a very good installation. So the maintenance people are learning a lot about that unit, so they're doing a nice job. So overall, I'd say the Public Works Department has hit the ground running this spring, doing some good things and getting some good work done. So, and that's my report.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. All right.
Mayor,
Yes.
I think it's in the engineering department. There's some pretty rough spots up and down Ravenna Road. Is that the engineering to go out and mark them and see about getting them replaced or
Rough
fixed?
spots for sidewalks?
There's
or
some
for-
places in the roadway that we have repaired that the repairs are falling apart.
That would be Chris
bouncing up and
Campbell.
down.
Yeah, we can, I guess there's issues, Mr. Steele's bringing it up about some, is it potholes or what is it?
It's just patches that we've put in that are like different levels, and it's like driving over a minefield. I'm just wondering if we can do something about that to make it a level piece of road. There's one that's north on Ravenna Road, north of Chamberlain Road. It's on the northbound side. And it's right where the tires of most cars go, so.
Okay, we'll take a look at it. All right. Chief Morgan?
Good evening. During the month of March, the fire department responded to 212 calls for service. That's a slight increase over last year, and for the year, we're up to 614 calls. That's slightly behind last year's pace. As notable events go, March was, although there were a lot of calls, they were relatively average. Nothing really to speak of. In the Fire Prevention Bureau, we did complete 110 inspections. Currently, there's about 100 past due. A lot of inspections to be done, and the guys have, between some of the public education events and just the time it takes to do the inspections, they're running a little bit behind. On the public education front, we had 9 different events with 187 personal contacts. So our guys are doing a great job in the schools, teaching the kids, and also with some adult groups as well. We've completed 122 different training sessions during the course of the month for just over 325 hours of training. Under points of interest, on April 2nd, the weather warning sirens all seem to function properly, so they're doing well. And also want to let you know that coming up on the 18th of April, next Monday, the police and fire departments will be participating in a school crisis drill at the high school. So between about 9 o'clock and 1, if you see a lot of police and fire activity up at the high school, it will be a training drill. And Chris already mentioned hydrants, and they're going to be cleaning them up and painting them. But in May, we're going to start flushing them. So I don't know if we'll cross paths on those different missions, but there's about 1,800 hydrants in the city and township that we flush every year and just get down to dirty water. and grease the fittings and make sure everything works smoothly. So it's a kind of a cooperative effort between our flushing, their painting, and hopefully the city of Cleveland replacing the bad ones every once in a while. That's my report. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Thanks, Chief. All right. Chief Noga.
Good evening. During the month of March, the City of Twinsburg Communications Center generated 2,172 calls for service among the Twinsburg Police and Fire Departments and the Reminderville Police and Fire Departments. The total call count for the year is 6,306. Twinsburg police officers arrested and or cited 206 suspects into court on 285 different counts. Twinsburg officers issued 227 written warnings and 14 parking citations. Officers investigated 45 traffic crashes, of which 5 were injury crashes, 9 were on private property, and none were fatal. This week is National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, a week set aside each year to recognize the men and women who are the gateway into public safety services. Whether you need a rescue squad or have a question about filing a police report, our dispatchers are here to serve you 24/7. When seconds count, our dispatchers are the ones who make sure that the help that you are requesting is sent quickly and that the responders have the information necessary to start serving or to start handling your call for service. I just want to say thank you to all of our outstanding professional dispatchers who work for the City of Twinsburg. We are blessed to have each and every one of them on our staff. Today, if you take a look at our Facebook page, we recognized our very first dispatcher, Ruth Osborne, who is the wife of Chief Glenn Osborne, our first police chief. Ruth served as a dispatcher going back to the days of when Glenn was actually the township constable before there was a village of Twinsburg. And then in 1955, when the village incorporated and Glenn was hired as the chief, Ruth was the first full-time dispatcher and records clerk. They operated out of the Osborne house on Route 82. So at one point they had 5 phone lines coming in, and before the days of a radio system, the patrol officer had to stop by once every half hour to 45 minutes, and if the porch light was on, they had to stop in and see what the assignment was. I'm happy to say that Ruth is 94 years old. She's still doing very, very well. I had the occasion to see her last year at an event honoring Glenn, who passed away unfortunately in 2008. And she is still very, very proud of the service that she gave to the City of Twinsburg as a dispatcher. So we recognized her today. And again, if you have the opportunity this week sometime to stop in and dispatch, please stop in and say thank you to those folks, because it's a very, very difficult job, and they do the job very, very well. So thank you. That concludes my
Chief?
report. Yes.
Question, how many shifts do you have in the dispatch?
There's 2.
Just 2?
Yeah, 7A to 7P and 7P to 7A.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
I just want to say the same thing about the dispatchers in this city, having been told where to go by them many times. They do a great job, and they have handled some pretty serious calls, handled them professionally, and got through it. While going to some of the calls that I've been to affects the officers who go to it or the firefighters who show up for the rescue calls, dispatchers have the same toll on them from what they go through.
Absolutely. And they handle those situations with honor and dignity and professionalism every time.
Yeah,
Thank
they
you.
do. We got good dispatchers.
Right. That it?
That's it.
Okay. That's it. Next, we'll move on to the legislation for tonight. First piece of legislation is Ordinance 30, 2016.
An ordinance accepting the lands and improvements dedicated to public use for the Hunter Ridge Boulder Brook subdivision, accepting the maintenance bond and reducing the performance bond accordingly, and declaring an emergency.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to suspend the rules on ordinance number 30, 2016, place it on its third and final reading, and declare it an emergency. Is there a second? Mrs. McFerrin. Any discussion?
Purpose
Shan?
for the,
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
the purpose for the emergency is that the property owner has met their requirements.
All the
And they
requirements.
want, and the bond needs to be released, and we want to do that now because it's already gone through and been reviewed by the engineering department.
And we've held it up a little bit, waiting for the traffic signal there to go up and running, so it makes sense to do this. We did have a first reading on it. We had a first reading on it 2 weeks ago, so if there's no other discussion, Shannon, call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Okay, now I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 30, 2016 as an emergency. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Roden. Any discussion? Shannon?
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 30, 2016 passes 7-0 as an emergency. Next, we have resolution 32, 2016.
A resolution authorizing the continuation of various agreements under the Community Reinvestment Area Program created pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code, Section 3735.66, for real property tax abatement.
Okay, I need a motion to adopt resolution 32, 2016.
Make a motion to adopt Resolution 32, 2016.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Stoffer. Discussion. Mr. Fury, want to talk on that?
As we discussed earlier this evening, this is a continuation for more than half a dozen CRA agreements. These are companies that have built new buildings or added additions on, and we're simply giving them an incentive through property tax on the new construction based on income and new employees long-term in the state of Twinsburg. And these are reviewed annually.
Okay. Any other discussion? Shannon, call the roll.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Okay, resolution 32, 2016 passes 7-0. Next, we have resolution 33, 2016.
A resolution authorizing the continuation of various agreements to provide tax incentives under the terms and conditions of the Twinsburg Occupancy Program established by Ordinance 144, 2004.
Mr. Fury, would you like to make a motion to adopt?
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution 33, 2016.
Okay, is there a second? I'll second it. Discussion. Mr. Fury.
This is, again, we have 15 top agreements. A top agreement is a company that either stays in Twinsburg or comes into Twinsburg newly that occupies an already existing building. The incentive for that is a reduction in income tax. These are reviewed annually, and again, the income tax is based off of the new employment and new payroll brought into the city. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Shannon, call the roll.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Okay, resolution 33, 2016 passes 7-0. Next, we have ordinance 34, 2016.
An ordinance accepting the bid of JD Striping Services for the 2016 road striping program and declaring an emergency.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we suspend the rules on ordinance 34, 2016, place it on its third and final reading, and declare it an emergency. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Roden seconds. The reason for this emergency, this is for our annual road striping program, and we would like to get the contract awarded and get on the schedule for the striping company to get our streets done in a timely fashion. Anybody else have anything to say? Shannon, would you call the roll?
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Okay, who would like to make a motion for adoption?
I will.
Mr. Roden makes a motion for adoption of ordinance 34, 2016. As an emergency, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Steele, any discussion? Shannon, call the roll.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 34, 2016 passes 7-0 as an emergency. Next, we have resolution 35, 2016.
A resolution acknowledging the council's receipt and review of the monthly financial statements submitted by the Finance Department for January, February, and March 2016.
Okay, who would like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 35, 2016?
I'll make the motion.
Mrs. Stoffer, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Roden. Any discussion? Okay, Shannon, call the roll.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Resolution 35, 2016 passes 7-0. We have Resolution 36, 2016.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Baker Vehicle Systems for the purchase of one Jacobson Fairway mower for use by Glen Eagles Golf Course.
Okay, who would like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 36, 2016? Anybody?
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution 36. Is it?
36.
36, 2016.
Okay, Mr. Fury motions, is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Roden seconds. Any discussion?
This is a replacement on a 1999 fairway mower that has gone through the system.
Okay. And this was approved by the Capital Improvements Board as well as being recommended to the Finance Committee, and it was approved by Finance as well. Okay, Shannon, call the roll.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes. Okay, Ordinance 36, 2016 passes 7-0. Next, we have Ordinance 37, 2016.
An ordinance approving the construction agreement and stormwater agreements for the Corbett's Farm subdivision Phase 3 and accepting the bond for the same in accordance with the plans on file with the city engineer and declaring an emergency.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we suspend the rules on Ordinance 37, 2016, place it on its third and final reading, and declare it an emergency. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Roden seconds. Any discussion on the emergency?
Not an emergency.
Anybody else?
The reason for the emergency is that we want to accept the money for the bond. So why we should do that quickly instead of waiting a month.
Okay. Shannon, call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yep.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Roden, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I will.
Make a motion to adopt Ordinance 37, 2016 as an emergency?
Correct.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Fury, any further discussion?
Yeah, so this is actually for the construction portion of it, not the dedication. There will be, hopefully coming up soon, a meeting with the city, Pulte Homes, and the post office to discuss mailboxes. So at this point, there'll be no further movement on dedicating Phase 2 or Phase 3 until that has happened, so we can get better placement, or hopefully better placement for the mailboxes in that new development. So just want to put that out there.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, Shannon, call the roll.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Okay, Ordinance 37, 2016 passes 7-0 as an emergency. Next, we have Resolution 38, 2016.
A resolution authorizing the disposal of certain personal property owned by the city of Twinsburg and no longer needed for municipal purposes.
Okay, who would like to make a motion for adoption?
I'll make the motion to adopt Resolution 38, 2016.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. McFerrin. Okay, any discussion?
This is computer equipment that is outdated, been stored in our basement for a period of time. We now have inventoried it, databased it, and it's going to be donated. The ones that are no longer have any useful purpose for the city will be donated to Goodwill for disposal or potential refurbishing. And all important data and anything has been removed from any of these equipment, so that's all been gone through, so they're all ready to go.
Okay. Okay, Shannon, call the roll, please.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Yes.
Mr. Sorese?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Okay, Resolution 38, 2016 passes 7-0. And that ends the legislation portion of our meeting. Next, we will go to unfinished business, new business, and miscellaneous. Mr. Maestros, you have anything?
Nothing, thank you.
Mayor?
Nothing this evening.
Mrs. Stauffer?
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate the Eagle Scouts, my nephew, one of them. But every time they come up, I'm so impressed with that organization, the program, all the Boy Scouts in the audience who came today, all former students, a lot of former students of mine. So I just am very proud of them. Wanted to congratulate them, and I would like to welcome the new full-time firefighter. Well, I know he's part-time, but I'd like to welcome him back. Welcome him, Josh Jarza. Am I saying that right? Anyway, I'd like to welcome him. And I just wanted to clarify something. Earlier we talked about the expenses for the water park versus golf course, whatever. I support whatever's best for the community, obviously, but in my opinion, I think we need to focus on services that are directly going to affect our residents, our taxpayers. So that was my point. Not that I do support what we've done at the golf course. I think that we put a lot of money into it. What year was the pool first opened? Does anyone not know the year we opened that? That's the original fence, right?
93?
What year?
93, 94?
93, 94. So it's,
years.
what's
It's like
that?
24 years old.
24 years old. Well, we just
23
approved
years
a
old.
mower that was 15 years old for $49,000. And we're giving Derek, I think, a hard time about something that was approved in capital and finance this year. And it just seems like we're just dragging this out. I really feel we need to just fix the fence. And that's all.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Steele?
I have nothing.
Okay. Mr. Roden?
Just a reminder about April 21st is Earth Day, and please come out and support it. It's going to be a great event. That's it for me tonight.
Thank you. Thanks. I just want to say again that our next council meeting will be April 26th, right here in the caucus, in the council chambers. Caucus starts at 7 o'clock that evening. That's all I have. Ms. McFerrin.
Well, I'd like to congratulate the Eagle Scouts and welcome our new full-time firefighter. And I'd really like to invite the residents to come to the council meeting. That's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Sorese.
Yeah, I just want to make a clarification. I don't think anybody is, that doesn't sound to me like anybody's opposed to fixing that fence. I think we agreed that we should go out and get numbers and then go forward with it.
Well, there was a lot of discussion. I don't think we're all agreeing that. I mean, this has been two years. We first turned them down 2 years ago.
We didn't
And-
turn him down. We gave him specific instructions
Right,
on
to fix
how
it,
to,
to
what to
repair it.
do.
Well, his recommendation was to replace it. So
Yeah,
as a
and
department head,
nobody's-
he recommended we replace it.
Nobody is opposed to that. I mean, we talked about it earlier. We just wanted to see some numbers first, and we asked for quotes.
And
At least that was my take on our discussion. I didn't hear any opposition. That's all I had. Thanks.
Okay. Mr. Fury.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The our Community Hunger Center is located at 9733 Ravenna Road, and they, for the month of March, served 1,077 individual meals that covered 414 households, including 319 children and 280 senior citizens. They're doing good work in the city of Twinsburg, and they need some help. They are, because of the amount of meals they're supplying in the area, they need Giant Eagle bags or Heinen's bags, the plastic bags that you get. They'd like, if you have extra bags, please drop them off at 9733 Ravenna Road. You can even put them on the door handle. They're doing good work. They'd like a little bit of help with some plastic bags. I also mentioned earlier that Ethan's Green is holding their garage sale Saturday, June 17th and 18th. If you're an Ethan's Green resident and want to participate, sell things, you need to go through the website and make sure that your location is part of the permit that needs to be filled out with the city, as well as be added to the map. We talked a little bit about spending and where we may cut or where we might not cut and what priorities are. The drop in when we relinquished the 0.25% income tax. That was roughly $3.5 million a year. Yet this year we're going to be down 9 projected, and we're looking at 9 next year. I believe the mayor is looking at significant changes on some things with departments and how we do things. I voted no on 8 police cars last meeting because as long as I've been here 13 years, we've only ever bought 3. I wanted to buy 6, which is more than 2 times what we had before. And the guys that if we're going to wait 4 years, we could work it out. And I did talk to the chief. He said he could make it work, but he'd prefer 8. We have a fence that we're talking about. He said to get it fixed last year. We can do it for 20. We can do it. It was 80. Now it's 65. So $45,000 more than replacing the fence it is. We can talk about it, but again, these are just little things. I think we also need to look at how we do things in the city. And the last time that Mr. Scafidi and Mr. Ceresi and I had to go through and make some and work with administration on significant changes, we used professional services and we used the performance audit, which had lots of recommendations in the beginning that took a while to get used to. Because there's one thing I've learned in almost 14 years here: it is hard to change the way things are done in a public entity. So I think that maybe we need to look at professional services again to get the areas of the city that weren't examined by the performance audits and see what they cost to have them redone. It's not a quick fix. It takes a year to get that over with. And also, our biggest expense is people. And before we had that performance audit done, Mr. Scafidi, I think we had 192 employees. And when we started running into the Chrysler issues, we were down to 158. So in that time, we figured out how we could do things a little bit more efficiently. And maybe we should look at that type of process again. So I agree that we can't just pick and choose and say who's taking home what or whatever. But I think that I think we need some help to figure out how to do it systematically. We need to work together to do it. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Last but not least, Shannon Collins, Clerk of Council. Anything?
I actually do have 2 things.
Okay.
The Twinsburg show choirs and vocal music boosters have their final performance this year. It is this Friday and Saturday at 7 p.m. at the high school. $8 for adults and $6 for students and seniors. And my other one is the Twinsburg football team is doing their Mulch Mania again this year, so the boys can come to your house and spread your mulch for you, and they're doing that the first 3 Saturdays in May. And if you're interested in that, you can contact 3Z Landscaping at 216-524-4544. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, Shannon. If there's no other business tonight, we have no absent members, so at this time we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you.